Welcome, everybody, to Tallahassee, Florida on the ACC Network Extra as we await a midweek matchup between two of the proudest programs in D1 softball. Louisiana taking on the top 10 Seminoles of Florida State. Welcome inside Joanne Graffield, everybody, alongside FSU infielder Brandon Reichert. I'm Sean Davison. And Brandon, I mentioned the proud history for each of these programs.
Yep.
They're both swinging the bat really well, each coming off of a weekend tournament. We'll start with Florida State. Isa Torres down in Clearwater continued to do what she does, and that is namely prove that she's one of the best shortstops and table setters in the country.
Isa Torres coming off an incredible weekend. She had 6 hits in 4 games. She really sets the tone at the leadoff spot for Florida State. 3 of those hits coming again.
Well, we're coming in hot here in Tallahassee as we're ready to rock on this Fat Tuesday between Louisiana and Florida State. Had to shout out Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras. I mean, it seems fitting with the Raging Cajuns.
Raging Cajuns are here to play. And absolutely Fat Tuesday, start of Mardi Gras. And I think the stadium concession has a little po' boy on deck for just that occasion.
And tip of the cap to the concession stand is Kennedy Marceau. The catcher gets us started for the Raging Cajuns. Put into play indirectly at Torres, who in addition to her offensive exploits this season, also defensively, Brandon, has been rock solid.
Absolutely. Isa Torres playing a premium position at shortstop, putting up a 0 spot in the errors column so far this season, which is incredible at that position with how many opportunities she gets.
Well, in steps Haley Hart, who is just a freshman out of Spanish Fort, Alabama, right down the I-10 corridor, a couple of hours in that Mobile metro area. And I mentioned that she is just a freshman. Brandon, her bat doesn't know it. She's swinging really, really high numbers at nearly 500 to this point on the season.
It's been incredible. She's one of the best bats in the country. 481. She's leading her team in hits. She's tied for the lead in home runs and RBIs. 926 slugging percentage for the young lady.
So off the leadoff ground out by the catcher, Marceau. Here is Hart. Ball and a couple of strikes from FSU starting pitcher Bella Dimitrievich. And Dimitrievich will hear her first K-time chance here at Joanne Graff Field. And that is lined over the glove of Beecham into left. Haley Hart is aboard with a 1-out single.
This is a great piece of hitting by, again, an 18-year-old freshman swinging the bat like a true veteran, like she knows what she's doing. That is her 14th hit of the season. You see this pitch right here, just left up by Bella. And Hart able to get the barrel to it and pull it over Beecham's head.
Couple of appearances for Dimitrievich in the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational. One against Texas Tech. That was a start, actually. And another against UCLA. And, you know, the Bruins, I mean, you're playing a who's who of teams. So you're going to play a who's who of lineups. And as a freshman, you know, you're going to have those outings where you're going to play a really good team and they're going to put the bat on the ball on you. And that's what happened against UCLA for Dimitrievich. But focusing against Texas Tech, who was in the National Championship Series a season ago, 3 rock-solid innings in that start against the Red Raiders, only gave up 1 hit.
I'll tell you what, she was lights out in that game against the #1 team in the country. So as a freshman, you got to feel the nerves a little bit when you're facing a team like that, and she certainly did not faze her at all.
Don't know that Isa Torres had a firm grasp of the softball there off the exchange. The Noles do get the lead out at second. And frankly, Brandon, if you don't have a firm grip on the ball, might as well not force it to first.
Right. You don't want to take a chance and overthrow it and put a runner, you know, at first base and put her into scoring position. You'd rather that runner be at first base than second.
So Otto, the third baseman, stands at first. And up steps Lily Knox. So a ground out, a single into left, and a fielder's choice have gotten us to this point. Dimitrievich hitting with strikes 1 and 2 now off speed to Knox.
Yeah, Lily Knox, a redshirt freshman out of California. Not too shabby herself, hitting .450, 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 10 RBIs already this season.
Pretty good spot there on the 0-2. Alas, it'll be called ball one to Dmitrievich. Home plate umpire Carlos Guzman not convinced on the location.
Yeah, Dmitrievich made a great pitch right there. Great two-strike pitch.
On the throw down to second. Florida State looks to likely get the runner in between second and third. They will, in fact, retire Otto. So one aboard for the Ragin' Cajuns in the top of the first. Otto retired in scoring position. The Noles Bats come to the plate next. Matchup between two of the proudest programs in Division I softball. Florida State, obviously, you think about all the trips to OKC, several of which under their current head coach, Lonnie Alameda. Louisiana, for their part, have made a handful of trips to the World Series as well. Lexi Delbury, who hails from Bainbridge, Georgia, just what, Brandon, 30 miles up the road from here?
35 or so, yep.
Played her college softball, at least the first few years of it, down at the University of Florida in Gainesville, so she is certainly plenty familiar with the Seminoles as she gets the start in the circle for the Ragin' Cajuns. Isa Torres, what a swing to start for Florida State, and what an aggressive decision, turning for two all the way. And that is what the combination of a plus approach and aggression by the veteran will get you.
I'll tell you right now, I love when a leadoff hitter jumps all over the first pitch of a game, and that's exactly what Isa Torres does. She hits this ball into right center field, and with her speed, never slows down, and great base running instincts to get to second base right there.
17 hits on the season for Isa Torres, one of the ACC leaders, in fact.
18.
And she's joined, now 18 now, absolutely. Still second behind Sanaa Thompson, but the point I was going to make is that Marin Heller, who's just a freshman and lays off the inside pitch there for ball one, is also one of the leading hitters in the ACC. She has 15 knocks on the season, does the freshman out of West Des Moines, Iowa.
6 of those are doubles, Sean. 6 doubles, a triple, and tell you what, she scored 9 runs, and nothing to scoff at here. She's also 5 for 5 in the stolen base category, so she's not only a threat to get on base, she's a threat to move up a base or two.
Can also make the flashy plays in the middle of the infield for Florida State. That has been something of a tradition over recent years for the Noles defensively. Turns on this one into foul territory. Out of the grasp of her third base coach, Travis Wilson. As we await Marin Heller to step back into the batter's box. Torres aboard with the leadoff double. Heller at the plate. Beecham, Danley, Hind, Griggs, Sturgis, Bueno, and Bella Ruggiero will be the DP here for Florida State. That 486 batting average for Torres already on the rise today with the double. That is hit well, but foul. Ball and a couple of strikes to Heller.
I'll tell you what, between these two teams, we've talked about Louisiana's freshman heart, and we're going to talk a lot about Marin Heller, not just tonight, but throughout this season. One of the best freshman bats in the country again. She's taken a very veteran approach every at bat we've seen her this season.
Protecting at 1-2. Just been so impressed, Brandon, watching these freshmen. Marin Heller, the ACC co-freshman of the week, by the way. Really just their approach at the plate so early on in their college career.
It is crazy. It's almost like nerves never touched them. They just came in here, bats a-blazing. And Marin Heller's been setting the tone ever since she stepped foot in that batter's box.
Lays off the 1-2 off speed above the zone. It'll go 2 balls, 2 strikes to Heller.
That there's a tip of the cap right there to the approach you were talking about. That's a tough pitch to lay off of with 2 strikes. Got
her teammate Isa Torres in scoring position off an immediate double in the gap. And this is golfed into left field. We'll have Vasquez, the shortstop, ranging onto the left field grass to secure out number 1. It will hold Torres at second, but it will also bring up Jason E. Beecham. And what can we say about Jason E. Beecham? The National Freshman of the Year a couple of years ago, just a red-hot start to her career. So naturally, anything that wasn't that was going to feel like a bit of a disappointment as a sophomore. Still bat north of 300, still was one of the hit leaders for Florida State. but call it a junior jump if you will. The run production was really the eye-popping thing in that Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational. 6 driven in, a couple of big blasts as well.
We talked about this a little earlier. Isa Torres in scoring position again for Beecham. This is a prime RBI opportunity for her. She hits in the middle of this Florida State lineup. That is what they expect her to do, and she has come through so many times.
And one thing she also does is she works a lot of walks. Hasn't seen anything to swing at here. And on top of all the power numbers that she put together in Clearwater, perhaps the most impressive thing, 4 walks to 1 strikeout.
One thing you'll see is that the best hitters in the country tend to get on base. They don't just hit for power. They don't just hit for average. They tend to have high on-base percentages, and walks are a big part of that. And that ball may have hit my truck in the parking garage.
If it didn't hit yours, it might have hit mine.
That ball was crushed. She was all over that pitch right there. A 2-0 approach, which you're looking for a strike. You know it's coming. You jump all over it. And man, she just missed that one.
Batting .423 on the season. Leading Florida State in RBIs with 12. Lays off the 2-1.
And that's where, like, I will say Beecham's average and her production numbers are going to continue to rise this year if she continues to lay off those close pitches that are outside of the zone. She's done so good at that. It's an elite level eye so far this year.
And she'll work the walk.
And another really impressive at bat. If you really look at that pitch, that's another one of those very tough to lay off of. Those higher hard balls are always tough because they're eye level. They seem so hittable, and they're meant to get you to drop your hands under them and pop up. But Beecham able to lay off of it and put the bat into Ashton Danley's hands.
12th walk of the season already for Jason E. Beecham. As you mentioned, Ashton Danley jumping on the first pitch here for Florida State. Has been a staple in the circle for the Seminoles. A couple of years ago when the Noles really were plagued by a lot of injuries, especially in the circle, was the horse that led them to the Norman Super Regional and showed so much guts and so much grit against the eventual national champions, Oklahoma. Then last year led Florida State in terms of innings pitched. This year with the deeper staff that Lonnie Alameda can play and toy with a bit, has the chance to put the bat on the shoulder a little bit more. She's been good. In fact, had her first home run of the season in Clearwater. Check swing there, that's foul.
Well, you gotta coach, a storied coach and coach down there who puts a lot of faith in their hitters, and Ashton Danley able to do it on both sides of the ball and has been impressive in her entire career on both of them. But to stick her right in the middle of this Florida State lineup shows how much she loves her bat and how much she trusts her.
Hit pretty well out to left field, pushing the left fielder to the wall and allowing Torres and Beecham to tag. Norwood's throw off the mark to third, so that'll advance the runners for the Seminoles.
I'll tell you what, last time we were here together, it was a crisp 44 degrees, and that ball would have been caught about 30 feet closer to the wall. It is really good, nice weather here. The ball's carrying a little bit better. And that ball, I'd say 3 feet, maybe 2 feet from being a 3-run homer. Danley got a good chunk of that one.
That'll bring up Anna Hind, the freshman out of Charlotte. Hind, who has seen time as the DP and in the backstop where she is today for Florida State, takes strike one on the 18th offering from Lexi Delbury. What a punch in the arm it would be for Delbury if she can find a way to strand a couple of Seminoles here in the first. Too far inside this time to Hind, who, Brandon, 5 hits in Clearwater, batted north of 450 for Florida State.
Yep.
Had her first career home run.
Yeah, this is another one of those freshman bats that's just been incredibly impressive for Florida State. And you look at that, she's also showing an elite eye. She's taking these borderline pitches for balls, and she's laying off pitches she knows she can't handle. It's a very impressive approach for these Florida State freshmen so far. And to be honest, this Florida State lineup, the freshmen it's impressive that they have this approach at this young age, but the entire lineup has been impressive.
The Florida State first was led off by Issa Torres with a double on the first pitch she saw. Marin Heller worked the count a bit before popping out to short, a walk to Beecham, a deep fly out for Danley to left, and that leads us to this 3-1 for Anna Hind. Popped it up and out of the reach of Marceau. Count will run full.
I do like that approach. Again, 3-1, that's a hitter's count. You're looking for a strike somewhere in the zone, and Anaheim just misses that one. Looked like she had it timed up just a little bit under the center of that softball.
And that'll be a walk. Second free pass issued by Lexi Delbrie here in the first.
And another really, really, really good at bat, a quality at bat by the Seminole lineup. Anna Hind, another freshman, as we said, doing a really good job of working that count, fouling balls off, and then getting herself to first base. That's just impressive.
Bases full of Seminoles. Haley Griggs, another freshman, at the plate. Into right center field. And what a play out there by the right fielder, Knox, to rob Florida State of some run production in the first.
Great job, great swing to hit that ball into the gap. And this ball, just great job by the right fielder to come across and make that play in the gap.
Ranked Seminoles of Florida State. Bella Dmitrievich will get us rolling here in the circle momentarily for the Seminoles. Worked around a one-out single to the freshman phenom, Haley Hart. A leadoff ground out to the catcher, Marceau.
Fielder's choice by Otto.
And then Otto was caught stealing in between second and third.
And Knox getting her second look at Dmitrievich. Although the first at bat was cut short by a caught stealing.
So a very weird 1-2-3 first inning for Bella Dmitrievich. Not the way you draw it up, but it still works just the same. And one thing she did do to virtually everybody she saw in that first inning was she did this. Worked ahead early in the count, quickly 0-2 here to Lily Knox.
And that's what you got to do against a great hitting lineup like this, like these Raging Cajuns. This is one of the better hitting teams in the country. I know that the season's very short-lived so far, but they're averaging over 9 hits a game. So you know this lineup can tear the cover off the ball. So you've got to work ahead so you can pitch your pitches.
Over 9 hits a game, over 8 runs per game for Louisiana. That is top 25 in the country. They're batting at a .351 team batting average. Florida State, for their part, batting at .337. So, again, two of the better offensive teams to this point this season. And there you see the Raging Cajuns and some of the props over in the visiting dugout.
I'll bet the props are thick in Louisiana with Mardi Gras taking place.
What a time over there.
I'm sure.
2-2. Louisiana, heck of a weekend, right? They played Ole Miss a couple of times. The Rebels were just in the Women's College World Series, split a couple of games against them in their home tournament. So, if you're looking for a litmus test for Coach Habits' team in year 2 of her tenure, you look at a team that was just in OKC and you go, all right, well, we split a couple with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say it all the time. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So you have to schedule the best, and that's what both of these teams are doing. They're prepping themselves for those same competitions later on this season. When it comes to playoff time, these are the teams you got to beat. So scheduling them early and seeing where you stand is very important.
We talked about the approach of the Florida State youngsters. How about Lily Knox, a redshirt freshman outfielder Fighting off a few pitches, and that flare will drop into the glove of Heller, but she worked the count a little bit there after falling behind 0-2.
I'll tell you what, she did not make that at bat easy on Dmitrievich, and it shows you exactly how good this lineup is and how much the Florida State pitching staff's going to have to work to get through each one of these outs.
The defense behind Bella Dmitrievich, Torres and Heller up the middle, Beecham and Bueno on the corners. You go out into the outfield for the Seminoles. And it's a familiar arrangement for Lonnie Alameda's 43rd team here at Florida State. Griggs, Sturgis, and Danley from left to right, and a Hind in the backstop for the Noles. And one of their other catching options, Bella Ruggiero, will be the DP when we get back to the FSU bats. Madison Manning, the junior out of West Monroe, Louisiana. And again, behind 0-2.
Yep. I was just going to say, Dmitrievich right back in this, quick 2 strikes and putting the pressure on the Louisiana bats.
On the ground to Beecham. And a nice play by Beecham across the diamond.
Beecham doing a great job over there at third base. She has just been impressive defensively. I think that she gets a lot of plays over there. You see this one, she had to play a little deeper, gets that back hop, and it gets rid of it immediately, makes a perfect throw, and able to get the runner by a step.
Florida State last year as a team, their fielding percentage was .963. It was 10th best in the ACC, well outside the top 100 in the country. By comparison this year, fielding at a .985 clip so far, top 15 in the country as Emily Smith, the sophomore out of Texas, steps in.
I'll tell you, every coach will tell you, man, is pitching and defense wins ball games, and Florida State certainly has the depth on the pitching mound. And I'll tell you, with a couple of freshmen in the lineup, you might worry about that defense, but it's anchored by some pretty good ball players at third base and at shortstop. And so far, it's been amazing to watch them.
This has been a blip on the radar here for Dmitrievich, meanwhile. Emily Smith really hasn't seen anything to swing at. Quickly, 3 balls, no strikes to her.
Yeah, one of the rare bats so far that Dmitrievich has fallen behind the batter.
Just 5 hits for Smith on the season so far. She walks on 4 pitches.
That's one of those tough ones right there. You see, you got a batter batting just above 200 so far this season, and that's the kind of batter. If you're a pitcher or you know FSU, you want to throw that player some strikes and let her try to get herself out.
She'll give way now for Cecilia Vasquez, who steps in. Vasquez, who bats 7th in the order for Allison Habits and the Ragin' Cajuns. She'll step out of the box. Anna Hind calling time to chat with her infield and her freshman pitcher, her fellow freshman, I should say.
I see some smiles right there. And you got to give the freshman, a little worried, you get the nerves sometimes, and you give up a walk. You have a great first inning, give up a walk, and you're not sure, what to do next. You'll rely on your captains over there in the infield to come over and, kind of pat you on the butt and say, hey, we got you. Come on, let them hit it.
29 pitches.
Do it by yourself.
29 pitches so far. The majority of those have been strikes for Dmitrievich. Just the 1 single and now a walk for the lone base runners for the Ragin' Cajuns. 2-0, meanwhile, to Cecilia Vasquez, who was not available for Louisiana on opening weekend, but did play last weekend. Now batting at a .333 clip. A lot of times early on, you'll see those batting averages jump up and down. Usually takes, about a month, maybe 5 so weeks to sort of see the numbers start to solidify a little bit.
Absolutely. And this is not like a Major League Baseball season where they're playing 160 games. They're going to play 50, 60, possibly 70 games.
Bouncer got away from Bueno. Everybody's going to be safe. Ball was hit pretty well down that first base line.
I'll tell you what, that's a very tough play for a first baseman. She was not only mid-step, kind of got a tough hop right there on a hard-hit ball, but the base runner runs right in front of you as the ball is coming. So you got to try to pick it up very, very quickly, and that one just ate her up.
How are you scoring that? I'm going single all the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is going to go down as an E3. And Beecham quickly, with the eraser on the hot corner, removes 2 Ragin' Cajun base runners. Still scoreless here in Tallahassee. Florida State's bats will come back to the plate after these messages. FSU will go 7, 8, 9 after sending 6 to the plate in the first. Had them loaded before a fly out to right by Haley Griggs left the bases loaded. McKenna Sturgis, Griggs' fellow freshman, will lead things off here. Florida State going freshman, freshman, freshman. The last 2 to come to the plate in the first, and now, of course, Sturgis leading things off here. No transfers in, no transfers out for Team 43, and that alone is a big story.
That is. That's an impressive feat in today's world and in college sports, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Goes to show you what this program has built here at Florida State and what coach has been able to not just keep but bring in talent-wise.
Bring in the right people, believe in your people, develop your people.
Absolutely. And who wouldn't want to wear the garnet gold every day?
Colors look good together.
Yeah.
2-0 to Sturgis. 10 hits coming into this weekend, or that's not the weekend. I'm getting my days mixed up. It's Tuesday. 10 hits coming off of last weekend for Sturgis. Weekend had to be involved in the statement somehow.
Yeah, Sturgis, another one of those freshman bats. Florida State, 4 freshmen in the lineup and a freshman on the mound. Relying heavily on this young talent.
Well, a funky flight off the bat. Clearly didn't catch all of it. And that flare is secured by Vasquez at short.
Yeah, Sturgis looked like she had it all timed up. Ball just tailed away from her and got off the end of the bat. Not a bad swing. Definitely hit the middle of the pitch, but just the wrong part of the barrel.
So up steps Angeli Bueno. Oh.
Hey, coach is checking. I see smiles down there. That was a tough one. That ball, I'm just hard to tell. I didn't know if it was a hit off her bat or off her hands, but it looked like it hit the brim of her helmet and maybe caught a little piece of her nose there. But let's watch this pitch. This was up and in, definitely. Oh, caught her shoulder. Got her lead shoulder there and ricocheted up into like part of her nose and then knocked her helmet off. So very fortunate it didn't get her, fully in the face or fully in the head, but sure seems to be being very tough over there at first base. But base runner nonetheless for Florida State as Angeli Bueno takes that one and gets on first base.
So 1 out hit by pitch to Bueno. Boy, nothing like making sure you're awake at 6:32 in the evening like that.
Right. I'll tell you what, if I'm Bella Ruggiero, I would be a little nervous about the next up and in pitch. Another lefty bat for the Seminoles, and that last one missed enough to make me think.
Ruggiero's a redshirt freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida. One of several different catching options for Florida State.
It's a good pitch right there by Delbury, just off the plate, but a great take by Ruggiero.
Had a hit over opening weekend, did Ruggiero. It was a double against Marshall in the Knowles doubleheader against the Thundering Herd. Boy, that's up and in. Didn't hit her, but it's into the backstop, and Bueno is going to advance into scoring position, no question.
Easy read right there by Bueno, and a great take. And I like that Ruggiero kind of stayed in there and made that tough on the catcher. She didn't really bounce out at her. She was willing to take that one off the arm as well.
Up and away. It's a 4-pitch walk and a couple of free passes here for Delbury. who issued a couple of walks in the first inning. Order's going to turn over to Issa Torres, and the plot thickens here for Florida State and for Louisiana. A chance for FSU to do some real damage here in just the second frame.
How many pitches is Issa Torres going to see in this at bat?
Well, one more than she did in the first.
Right. I'll tell you what, if you look at that approach she has, man, she was geared up and ready. Perfect load, hands are in position. She is ready to swing that bat. That one just unhittable.
1-0 to Torres.
Torres, ice in her veins, man. She just looks locked in as not just as a hitter, but holy smokes, man. She's been lights out on the diamond and in the batter's box.
Torres has recorded a hit in 9 of 10 games this season. She's recorded 2 or more in half of Florida State's games, including in each of their last 2 contests in Clearwater.
Pretty sure she has three hit games, and I know that those stats didn't include today's game, so she's already got another hit in 10 of the 11 games.
Hasn't seen anything to swing at yet in this AB.
And why would you give one of the hottest hitters in the country something to hit?
But boy, Lexi Delbury has not made it easy on herself. A couple of innings in against Florida State. A lot of traffic on the base paths.
There you go. Another great at bat. Issa Torres, and that's what makes a leadoff hitter great. You know that she's ready to hit. You know she wants to hit, especially with runners in scoring position. But she is willing to not chase, to, come out of her game, right? Out of her approach. She sticks with it, draws the walk, and puts the Noles in a bases-loaded situation.
Well, 9 pitches, 9 straight balls by Lexi Delbury, if you include the one that clearly wasn't anywhere near the strike zone, if it's going to ride up and hit Angeli Bueno. Ruggiero didn't see a strike, nor did Issa Torres. And just like that, on 3 free passes, Florida State's got them loaded again.
I'll tell you what, in any time you have a runner on base, it's a lot tougher on a pitcher, right? They're thinking about that runner. They're trying not to get the next, the batter, let the batter get on base. But both of these teams, as good as their lineups are, these pitchers are working extra hard, maybe putting a little bit too much pressure on themselves to be extra good. And it's, maybe she's trying to throw a little too hard and she's not quite finding that zone right now. But with these great hitting lineups, you got to be able to mix in. You got to be able to mix up locations and speeds. Right now, she's just not found it.
Kyle Brady, the first-year pitching coach for the Raging Cajuns, came into the circle to have a word with Delbury in the infield. Head coach Allison Habits spoke with the catcher at the same time. Got a word in with Marceau. So here's Marin Heller. 1 out on the board, bases full of Seminoles. Swung through, strike 1.
That right there, that is a changeup and a perfect pitch you want to throw in that scenario. Marin was looking fastball all the way, hard ball all the way. She's trying to drive a ball over her center fielder's head right here. So great location, great pitch.
This time comes inside, harder on the gun at 65 miles per hour. Couldn't hit with the drop. It goes 1-1 to Heller.
Still an impressive spot, right? Hard in, soft away. That's the formula you're trying to get a right-handed hitter out with in this scenario. There it is.
As you were saying.
Yep, soft away. That pitch, that changeup, it's meant to look like a rise ball. It looks hard out of the hands, and then the pitcher just able to hold it in the hands a little longer and draw it back for about a 10 to 12 mile an hour difference. You see Heller just out in front of both of those pitches. It's a tough decision. I like her approach with the bases loaded, right? You go up there, you're swinging the bat. You're swinging the bat, looking for something to drive. But now she's in a hole, and she's got to be a little tougher. So she got to have a good 2-strike approach right here.
Work to count in the first inning before popping out to short did Heller. And this flare will drop in front of the second baseman. A run will score for Florida State. Everybody is safe. Lascano unable to glove it, and the Noles are on the board first.
And that has got to be a really tough one right there for the second baseman of the Raging Cajuns. That ball off the bat looked a little harder, and it kind of died. I think Heller got jammed up a little bit, but as she charged that ball, it took a funky hop on, maybe a little spin, and all the Seminoles are safe now. So great at bat, way to fight, and put something in play, make something happen for Heller.
And there's nowhere to put Jason E. Beecham.
And this is probably one of the hitters you do not want to see if you're the coaching staff for Louisiana right now. She's not swinging at bad pitches, and she is crushing good ones.
Only saw one strike in the first, walked on 5. Hasn't seen a strike in the second yet either.
(2-0) approach right here has got to be. This is going to be a very well hit ball. Oh, good eye by Beecham.
Well ahead in the count again. Nowhere to put her. Marin Heller stationed at first. Isa Torres at second. Bella Ruggiero 60 feet away at third.
And do you give Beecham a green light right here with 3-0?
She lays off, and Florida State walks in another run.
And another RBI for Beecham. Just a quality at bat. And those are scenarios as a hitter, especially a hitter in the middle of the lineup. You're looking to do damage, right? I want to hit a ball. I want to drive in 2 or 3 of these runs. So maybe a chase. Beecham showing a very veteran approach right there in taking the walk, getting the RBI, and just passing the bat down to the next person in the lineup.
A pitching change in the works. Lexi Delbury saw 6 Seminoles here in the second. She only threw 4 strikes to them. 2 runs in for the 7th-ranked team in the country, and a lot of Tallahassee. Lexi Delbury out. Sage Hoover in. The Texas Tech transfer out of Edgewood, Texas. Missed last season after recovering from a preseason injury, did Hoover, number 17 for Louisiana. And so far this year has a 4.96 ERA.
They're bringing her in a tough situation here. And that ball scorched.
On the ground to short. Another run will score for Florida State. Boy, we've seen some hard-hit balls on the infield, and if that one was gloved a little cleaner, you can probably turn 2 and get out of the inning.
Absolutely. That ball absolutely squared up, though. Danley does exactly what you're trained to do. She comes in, the first pitch of a new pitcher, she squares it up. Great job by the shortstop to block it up, but just can't handle it. Takes the one out, but Danley quick enough to be safe at first.
3-0 Florida State. Runners on the corners. Now put them both in scoring position. Ashton Danley with a good read to advance 60 feet. So it's Torres.
Stanley's first stolen base of the season.
Who came in to score in that last sequence. So Heller is at third. Danley is at second. Anna Hind turns on that. Will drop it in left. And Florida State will look to tack on a couple more. They will on the throw home. Hind scoots to second.
Danley showing off the wheel. She was scoring all the way. That's a 2-out base running approach right there. Great swing by Hind to get this ball into the outfield. And the freshman has a 2 RBI single with an extra base with the hustle, I guess the hustle double, if you want to call it that. Great job by Hind. See right here, look at this approach. First pitch, jammed up a little bit, but drives through the ball and gets enough of it to get it out in the outfield. He's reading that throw, gets to second base, and puts herself in scoring position for the next batter, which, as a coach, you gotta love to see it.
6 to the plate in the first for Florida State. 8 to the plate here in the second. Griggs flew out to left to put an end to the first. She's at the plate here with 2 outs and a runner aboard in her fellow freshman Anna Hind. And worth mentioning, the 2 RBI, yes, it was a 2 RBI single for the catcher Hind. That was the first hit of the inning for Florida State. So you send 8 to the plate, you score 5 runs, and that was just the first hit.
Yep. That tells you the struggles of the pitching for the Louisiana staff.
Tells you a thing or two about the approach of the Seminoles as well.
I will say that they here we are. They're battling through at bats. When they do get down in 2 strikes, man, they're just battling each pitch. So, tip of the cap to the Seminole lineup so far.
And Griggs battles off 2 balls after falling behind 0-2 initially. The inning started with a pop out by Sturgis. Then Bueno was hit by a pitch. Ruggiero walked on 4. So too did Torres. Heller reached on an error. A 4-pitch walk to Beecham. An RBI fielder's choice by Ashton Danley and the 2 RBI single by Hind, who is stationed at second.
And Griggs battling her way back from a pitcher's count to get it full.
Elevated to left into foul territory and hauled in by Norwood to put an end to the second. So Norwood retires Griggs, but Florida State bats around the order in the home half of the second. They hang up 5 big runs on the Ragin' Cajuns, and the Noles are rolling early. Approach the 3rd inning between Louisiana and the 7th-ranked Seminoles. There is the head coach of Florida State in year number 18, Lonnie Alameda. What a job she's done here in Tallahassee. 7-time ACC Coach of the Year, national champion, 2-time national runner-up, the NFCA Hall of Fame in the class of 2023. Man, she has built an empire here with Florida State softball, and it was a program that really, when she inherited it, the cupboard wasn't exactly bare either. Dr. Joanne Graff, whose name is on the field, won a couple of national championships here, turned the program over in good shape, and Lonnie Alameda just ran with the mantle and has taken this program to heights even beyond, I think, what maybe even Dr. Graff could have imagined. It's just been so impressive.
One of the most impressive things to me is how well this coaching staff recruits. They bring these girls in from all over the country, and they create a team that is always one of the top most competitive teams in the country.
Speaking of bringing in girls from all over the country, Bella Dimitrievich in the circle. The freshman out of Illinois will give up the leadoff single to Mia Liscano, the junior out of Austin, Texas, and that is a whole lot of speed that is now on the base paths for the Ragin' Cajuns.
You're right about that. Mia Liscano does a great job of letting this ball travel and just putting it out into the outfield, shoots this ball into the left center gap. But, man, you talk about speed. 7 stolen bases already.
A perfect 7 of 7. The Noles will have a chance to turn 2, though. And off the 6-4-3, they'll do just that.
Flawless execution from your middle infield right there. Absolute quickness. You see this ball tailor-made to Isa Torres. Right to her. Perfect hop. Backs up. Perfect flip. Quick feet. Great throw. And I'll tell you what. Execution like that can only happen in the state of Florida.
Athletes. Haley Hart goes right back into center field. Haley Hart. Let's take a look at that name, and let's remember it, because this is just the first 10 or so games of what looks like is going to be an awfully impressive career.
Absolutely. When we started this game, we were looking her stats up, and I think she was maybe tied for, 7th or 8th or 9th in the country for hits for a freshman. But she's added two so far here tonight, and that would put her right in that, 3rd or 4th mark.
And now tied with Marin Heller, actually, in fact, with 15 hits
there you go
on the season. Hart, who is stationed at first, a player that I think ideally Louisiana is going to have in the middle of the infield. They don't really need her there defensively. They've got some veterans that they like, but because that bat is as potent as it's been, it'll find a place in the lineup. She's in the outfield for now.
Absolutely. You just find a place defensively to put this bat, because she has earned her right to play or to be in this lineup, and honestly, she's kind of anchoring the lineup. So bright future and a very good career, and she's setting the tone for a really good career for her time in Louisiana.
Brooke Otto, meanwhile, holds off the inside pitch. What a spot there by Dmitrievich, trailing 2-0. Again, Bella Dmitrievich has done a really nice job of working ahead early, pounding the strike zone as she does right there with the changeup.
Yeah, great pitch right there. And the pitch before, like you said, that is a pitcher's pitch. 2-0, you're looking for something in the middle of the zone to hit, and she just did not bite on it. You see that replay of that changeup. Great pitch. And throws another one right there. And Dmitrievich with a strikeout to end the inning.
Awfully impressive by Bella Dmitrievich. After sitting a spell in the bottom of the second, a couple of singles go by the wayside. She gets Otto swinging to put an end to the Louisiana third. It's at the helm with the Ragin' Cajuns. Roughly a quarter century as the assistant and associate head coach at the University of Alabama. And what a tenure that was over in Tuscaloosa for Allison. Really helped build something along with, of course, head coach Patrick Murphy that, Alabama put the East Coast on the map in terms of softball, a sport that habitually year in, year out was dominated by the West Coast schools. Bama won a national championship in 2012 without a West Coast girl on the roster, and it really triggered that seismic shift in a number of ways.
I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right. And that was they had a team in the 2010s that just perennial, World Series attendees. Man, they were just incredible during her time there. So for her to bring, her talents and all that she learned over there at Alabama to the Ragin' Cajuns, where she is an alumni.
And not just an alumni.
I'll tell you what, not just an alumni. You're absolutely right about that.
Hall of Famer with the Ragin' Cajuns, 1,000-point scorer with the women's basketball team, and a World Series participant and an All-American on the softball side under the great Yvette Giraud.
Yeah. More than just an alumni. Like you said, a Hall of Fame inductee back in 2003, and brings it back to come coach at her alma mater, and I'm sure that everyone over there is more than happy to have her at the helm.
Took a year off, did habits in between her time in Tuscaloosa and her time in Lafayette. I'll tell you what, speaking of the time off between periods, right? The time off between being in the circle in the second and being in the circle here in the third. How about one quick out for Hoover here? That will build positive momentum, hopefully, for the Ragin' Cajuns if you're a fan tuning in.
Absolutely. Get the leadoff hitter out. You don't want to let the leadoff hitter on base. That just puts pressure on you and puts pressure on your defense. So very good job throwing strikes, mixing up speeds, and getting that quick out. Now she's battling it out here with Bueno, who was hitting the shoulder her first at bat.
So pop up to Sturgis. Angeli Bueno with the full count. First hit of the season for Bueno was a pretty good one. It was a walk-off over Liberty. The Flames, the preseason favorite to win Conference USA. Florida State was able to run rule them in 6.
Bueno fighting that one off, full count. Just anything close when you get yourself in that battle or in that count, you just got to battle, right? Anything close, you're trying to foul it off, find a way on. That's a great swing and a great approach.
Bueno tacked on a couple of hits in Tampa, had one against FAU, had a triple, in fact, against UCLA. Came in to score twice against the Bruins. What an AB here, continuing to fight is Bueno.
Yeah, absolutely. You just fight until you get the pitch you can handle. And I'll tell you what, the more pitches you see in an at-bat, I think the higher the chances that you get a hit that at-bat. So she's doing a good job of seeing some pitches this one.
Playable in left field. Norwood has been busy over there for the Ragin' Cajun. She's been rock solid, though, and Bueno is retired.
Tell you what, the Seminoles, you're right. They've been putting a little pressure on the left fielder out there. That ball hit very, very well, but Norwood played perfectly, situated perfectly, positioned perfectly, and made that play look pretty easy. Ball's well hit.
Quality plate appearance by Bueno. 9 pitches in total. Fights her way back into that. Lifts it to the bigger part of the ballpark. On the flip side, though, if you're Hoover, all of that really doesn't matter if you retire her.
Absolutely. You know, long outs are still outs, and as long as it's an out, right?
You got it. And a chance here for Hoover to perhaps sit the Noles down in order, and how important that would be as we reach the very bottom of the order for Florida State.
Yep.
Bella Ruggiero, who walked on 4 pitches in the second.
Has not seen a strike yet today.
Still has not seen a strike yet today.
And I'll tell you, when you hit in the bottom of the lineup, I was a guy that hit in the bottom of the lineup here at Florida State many years ago. And I always saw it as my job, you know, to get on base, to turn the lineup over, get the bat back in our best hitters' hands.
Oh, backdoor on the action there. A nice pitch.
Yeah, took a little off of that one. That had a little change-up action, maybe even a little slide action, but it came right back over the outside part of the plate. That's a great take. 3-0, you're not looking for a changeup to hit. 3-1, you're not looking for a changeup. You're looking for something hard you can drive. So I will say this is a cat and mouse game between the pitcher and the batter, and now Ruggiero's got to battle it out.
On the ground to short, and a nice play up the middle by Vasquez. So just what the doctor ordered for the Ragin' Cajuns in the bottom of the third. They sit the Noles down in order, and they'll see if they can ride that positive momentum into the fourth. Florida State leads 5-0. Here in Tallahassee, as Allison Habits makes her way over to that third base coach's box. You see this meeting going on during our commercial break in front of the Ragin' Cajun dugout. Brandon, what might you think was the topic of discussion there?
I would say just having a little motivation. The Cajuns are going, they're the second time through the lineup. This is the second time each of them have seen Dmitrievich, so they've seen some pitches. Maybe they're talking about approach and just getting base runners, not trying to do it all by themselves. Work together as a team, get some base runners, and scratch out a couple runs to make this thing a little closer than it is right now.
Louisiana actually out-hitting Florida State in this game, 3-2. 5 runs for Florida State in the home half of the second. A lot of free passes issued. So sure, there's not a whole lot of hits there for FSU, but you credit the approach, seeing a lot of balls. There was a hit by pitch in there. They loaded up the bases, walked in a couple runs.
Absolutely. They're being very aggressive at the plate, which I like, and you know, some of their better hitters, Lascano and Hart, with the hits so far. But the batters coming in after them, not able to manufacture anything out of those. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Hey, first runner gets on, let's get that runner to second. Let's scratch out a run or two per inning, try to get back in this thing.
Yeah, Louisiana's done a good job in a few different areas. They've done some good things today. Here's Lily Knox trying to work the count here against Bella Dmitrievich.
I'll tell you how good these two lineups really are. As many batters as these pitchers have seen, only 1 strikeout in the entire game, and that will stay in the last inning.
That's a great point. Make it 2 strikeouts. Well, couple in a row for Bella Dmitrievich.
I guess if you speak it into existence. This pitch right here is up in the zone. It's a chase pitch. Dmitrievich gets it up and just makes Knox swing under that ball. Knox very frustrated with herself on that one, but great pitch by Dmitrievich.
Here's Madison Manning jumping on the first pitch. She grounded out back in the second. This time she'll fly out to left.
I got to think that these are not the at-bats that the coach was wanting to when she had that team meeting. You got to a strikeout and a first pitch fly out the left. So not only are you getting two, you're getting quick outs. So.
And this is an interesting development here for Florida State. You'll see this quite a bit this year if you're not familiar with it. Belle Dimitrievich, far from struggling here in Tallahassee. 3 2/3 quality innings of work in her start. But the Noles have a deep staff. They intend to use it. So in from the outfield comes Ashton Danley. She'll look to record the final out of the fourth. We'll let her get warm and step aside for a few moments. Ashton Danley, who started this game as FSU's right fielder. She can go two ways, and she's going to go two ways tonight. Here's the junior out of Winchester, Tennessee, into the circle to try to record the final out here of the fourth.
This is not a weird move, a great move, I think, by Kocha to bring in Danley. And you know, Danley hasn't been on the mound as much so far this year, but you got to build her confidence. You got to give her the opportunities. And this is one of those ones where, hey, we're going to throw you in against the 6-hole and let you close out this inning and maybe the game and just give you an opportunity to eat up some innings.
Preseason All-ACC honors for Ashton Danley. Ties up Emily Smith immediately, who fouls that away toward her own dugout. Emily Smith did not see a single strike in the second. Dimitrievich had been on cruise control largely to that point, and then out of nowhere, it seemed, walked Smith on 4 pitches. Boy, off speed there.
Really good pitch. I'll tell you what, Danley, what makes her so special, she's left-handed and throws absolute gas. So when you're able to control that changeup and keep it that close, that just makes it even more special. So
good spot away from Emily Smith. Danley's gone as many as 3 innings in a game this season. That was her debut in the circle against Iowa. Only gave up 1 hit to the Hawkeyes, struck out 4 in that contest. 9 strikeouts to 7 walks. Been a bit of an issue, but that ratio gonna get even better. Off speed for strike 3 for Danley.
Danley going with another off-speed pitch right there. A take by Smith, and Danley able to get her and the Seminoles back in that dugout with a strikeout to the only batter she saw that inning.
Back here in Tallahassee for the home half of the 4th inning at Joanne Graff Field. We have returned to the top of the Florida State order. And despite the fact that FSU only has 2 hits on the night, this is the 3rd trip to the plate for Issa Torres. Torres, who is at the top of the order, has been one of the best batters in the ACC this season. Tied for 2nd in hits with 17 coming in, behind only Sanaa Thompson of North Carolina. And then Marin Heller, who's also been one of the best freshman hitters in the ACC. Also among the top 5 or so coming into this matchup. One of a few tied for 5th, in fact, with 15 hits coming in. They will bat 1st and 2nd. It's Torres at 2-1. There is Heller waiting in the wings in the on-deck circle for Florida State.
That's a great swing right there by Torres. Timing-wise, she saw that pitch the entire way, just misses it, fouling it back. Puts herself in not a hole, but she's seeing some pitches really well right now. 2-2, and one of the best hitters in the country up to bat right now.
Make it full to Torres. Again, that list, Sanaa Thompson at the top for North Carolina, Alyssa Willer of Georgia Tech tied with Torres with 17 hits. You look at Deanna Jennings, who comes into the midweek with 16 for Duke, and then you got Amina Vega, Taryn Kern, Marin Heller all with 15 as Torres protecting the plate fouls that away.
Right, what's impressive, I got to hand it to the defense for the Cajuns as well. But, man, we talked about only 2 hits for the Seminoles.
Yeah.
And one of those was Issa Torres on the first pitch of the game.
Yes.
So, good on the Seminoles for being able to scratch out and get some base runners without doing too much.
And that is a fair ball. Louisiana does a nice job of holding Issa Torres to 1, but she sliced that just inside the bag down the line at third.
And this is why Issa Torres is going to be one of the elite hitters in the country. She is able to maneuver defenses. This is not a great pitch, not a great swing, but you see how far over the third baseman is playing, and she shifted towards second base on that play, or on that swing, and Issa Torres able to drop it right over the third base bag for a single. Not a hard hit ball, but that's what makes Issa Torres so effective.
Pitch off the plate, and the check down to first will not get Torres. So it's immediately ball 1 to Marin Heller.
And that's what we call a pitch out. They're expecting the runner to take off, so they're trying to pitch out to sell out on the throw and throw her out at second base.
Just 1 stolen base attempt coming into this game for Issa Torres. Obviously, she does possess a lot of speed and potential to swipe a bag or 2. Meanwhile, the count 1-1 to Heller, who has popped out and reached on an error by the second baseman Lascano. Another pitch out there. It goes 2-1 to the freshman.
I'm not sure that was a pitch out. That one just looked like it missed off the plate, but Heller, who has had a couple pretty good at bats. She's hadn't had a hit yet tonight. She's looking for that first one right here. She looks locked in.
Well, Florida State was trying to start the hit and run. It's fouled away by Heller. But you think about what FSU can do offensively. They've showcased they've got the power. They've showcased they've got a plus approach. They're going to work counts. They're going to take their walks. And then they can beat you with their speed. They can get crafty on the base paths, start the hit and run, etc. They can hurt you in a lot of ways. Heller continues to battle. That was fouled into the netting.
Well, that's a great example right there by Heller. That's not a great pitch to swing at, but it's too close to take, and she does a great job of fouling it off. And not to mention, pretty sure 1 through 10, 1 through 9, and then maybe another 4 or 5 in that on the bench over there can hit it and leave the park as well. It's just a well-rounded offense.
Boy, a backwards K to Marin Heller. It's a big strike out there for Hoover.
It's a really good pitch right there by Hoover. Off speed, just catching the outside corner, and it was enough for Heller to want to take it. Good pitch, great location. Heller just not able to pull the trigger on it.
And hitting with strike 1 to Jason Beecham. Beecham has walked twice tonight, has only seen 1 strike prior to that one.
For every one of Beecham's at bat, guess who's been on base for it?
I'm going to guess Issa Torres.
Issa Torres. 2 for 2 with a walk on base, all 3 of her at bats, and Beecham 2 walks tonight. Looking for that first hit, looking for a pitch to hit.
Oh, inside, great location there by Hoover.
I'll tell you what, the pitchers, when they are on, these young ladies are doing a great job. Like I said, hard pitches in, soft pitches away. They're locating, they're changing speeds. It's tough to hit those balls. Great chase pitch up right there. Beecham with, I mean, so far, one of the better eyes in the country, right? Able to lay off that high heat.
13 walks, including the 2 tonight, to just 2 strikeouts for Jasony. Torres off and running into scoring position, and she is out. Boy, credit to the Raging Cajuns. They were ready for it, and they throw her out at second.
I'll tell you what, Marceau with an absolute BB to second base. This is a perfect throw. What a strike. Right on the money. Ball beats Issa Torres to the bag. Great tag by the shortstop.
So eliminate the base runner in front of Jason E. Beecham, who pops this into shallow right. Coming on to make the play is Knox. An unconventional 1-2-3 inning for Sage Hoover and Louisiana. After the 5 spot by the Noles in the second, they have been sat down in order since. Little Seminole swag in honor of Fat Tuesday, and of course Mardi Gras, which I'm sure our friends from Lafayette can appreciate.
The old bead toss, the Mardi Gras bead toss. Who doesn't love a good bead toss?
It's been a fun one so far tonight between the Raging Cajuns and the 7th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State. 3 hits apiece. Louisiana picked toward the top of the Sun Belt. Florida State picked to win the ACC. Quality start out of Bella Dimitrievich against a red-hot Raging Cajun lineup that came in batting north of 350. Ashton Danley came in from the outfield, recorded the final out of the last inning off the crazy Karam Beecham. Are you kidding?
Wow, that is just good old-fashioned defense right there. You got Danley with a great pitch, and Vasquez squares this first pitch up right off the glove, and you see Beecham right there to make the play. Beecham is playing a heck of a third base for the Seminoles right now.
So if you're scoring the game at home, that is your traditional 1-5-3 on the play there.
And not a double play.
No. That's just how we're starting off the top of the 5th. Want to know the count to Mia Norwood, who gets the opportunity today after a heck of a game in their last contest against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. A couple of extra base knocks for Norwood, who's got 3 on the season. 2 triples and a home run. That'll play.
That's a little pop in the bat, for especially in the 8-hole. That's pretty good, right? Just tells you how well these lineups are built, man.
And you referenced it, Louisiana going 7, 8, 9. Norwood back up the middle and through.
And that's 2 really well-hit balls off Danley so far. Unfortunately for the Raging Cajuns, that first one ended in an out, but that ball squared up and shot up the middle for a single. And the backside of that Cajun lineup's doing some damage.
And so Norwood into the lineup on the heater. Replaces really Deja Williams, the junior out of Alexandria, who would have been the starting center fielder, except today it was Hart to put Norwood in left. So they've got Deja Williams, who, by the way, double-digit in the hit column coming into today. We haven't seen her yet. And then you've got Mia Lascano, who's found her way aboard via the single in the 3rd, and who is a torrid stolen base threat at the bottom of the order.
And this is where, if you're the Cajuns and you're the, you have to string something together here. You're getting towards the end of the game, backside of the game. Let's put, you got a runner on first. Let's do some damage right here. Shoot a ball down the line, get some runners in scoring position, give your team a shot as you turn the lineup over.
Lascano, the junior out of Austin, Texas, holds off to put the count at 2-1. Transferred into Louisiana from Northwestern State, takes a hack, comes up empty, and Florida State's got the runner in a pickle.
And she's quick over there.
And Marin Heller is going to apply the tag to retire Norwood.
But not quick enough, and that's one of those base running mistakes that just cannot happen if you're the Raging Cajuns, man. That just can't happen this deep in the game. That can't happen when you got 3 really good hitters coming to the plate. You gotta make wise choices on the base pass.
Second time that a Raging Cajun player has been caught stealing. You go back to the first, Otto was caught between 2nd and 3rd off of a fielder's choice, and that will put an end to what looked like was going to be a promising top of the fifth for Louisiana. They lead in the hit count, but Florida State leads in the column that matters the most, up 5-0 midway through the fifth at home. Back here in Tallahassee as we head to the home half of the fifth, Florida State put the bat on the ball early and put up a 5 spot in the second round.
Yeah, their approach at the plate really is what been the difference maker in this game. Tons of walks. They're putting balls in play, putting pressure on the defense. Not a lot of really well hit balls, but enough to score 5 runs in the second inning, and that's the difference maker so far.
And that last clip you saw in that highlight package that our crew put together for you was a 2-run single by Anna Hine deposited into left. That put the 4th and 5th runs, respectively, on the board for Florida State. Their only hit, by the way, in that second inning, despite batting around the order. A lot of free passes issued by Lexi Delbree, hit by pitch, a few walks.
Yeah, there was 3 walks, a hit by pitch, an error, and a hit, as you mentioned, by Anna Hine.
So Florida State brings the bats back to the plate here in the home half of the fifth. They've been retired in order a couple straight innings, one conventionally, the other not so much. You go back to the third, a pop out, a fly out, a ground out to get through the bottom of the order. Then you go back to this most recent inning for Florida State. Issa Torres led off with a single but was caught stealing. A strikeout looking to Marin Heller and a pop out to right field by Jason E. Beecham. So here's Ashton Danley batting cleanup, leading things off out of the 4th spot here in this 5th inning. And that is a well-hit ground ball that'll get away from Lascano at second.
And that's 3 absolute rockets off the bat of Danley so far today. Her first at bat, she goes deep to the fence, and this one right here, she squares up. Tough hop for the second baseman. There's just really no way to handle that ball.
Worth mentioning, it looks like we do have a defensive replacement for Louisiana. We were referencing Deja Williams, who we hadn't seen yet. She is now in center field for the Ragin' Cajuns. Just happened to look up and see that as Anna Hine fouls the first offering back from Hoover.
It looks like they're going to give Danley a hit on that. I will say that ball was absolutely scorched. Like I said, 3rd time today that she's barreled one up.
Hind to shallow right. Lascano calls everybody off, throws back to first. No issues there with Danley.
Yeah, not the swing you want to see from Hine. She's been on so far today, but that ball right there just catches the inside part of the handle and not able to do too much with it.
First time that Anna Hine has been retired. She'll now give way to Shelby McKenzie. I had a feeling we might see Shelby McKenzie check in here as a pinch hitter and to play some outfield once Ashton Danley came in from right. So here is McKenzie, number 9 for Florida State, in this her sophomore season, making her first plate appearance of the evening, and that's a called strike to start her off. Check swing, and she went.
Yeah, it's always tough coming off the bench, and if you're not warm, not loose, hadn't been, timing up pitches so far. This and tip your cap to Hoover from Louisiana. She's been really good since she's come in.
Upstairs for ball 1. Ball and a couple of strikes to Shelby McKenzie. Had a couple of hits opening weekend for Florida State, including a walk-off grand slam against the Hawkeyes. Added 4 last week, did McKenzie, including her second home run of the season in the latter stages of the Noles midweek affair against Liberty.
Pace, Pensacola alumni. tell you what, I played some baseball against some pace players and played with them in college, and, man, they churn out some athletes.
Two and two to McKenzie, who gets out of the way. The count runs full. And worth mentioning, yes, McKenzie from Pace, Florida, comes from an athletic family full of baseball and softball players. Of note, mom, Amy, played softball at Alabama, who is coming into town this weekend. Her daughter will work the full count walk.
There you go. And that's a great approach. Again, it's always tough coming off the bench and jumping into a bat, and especially since Hoover's been so good since she's come in. I will tell you, that's not an easy bat to have, but she does a great job, uses her eye, and draws a walk. Gets the bat into the hands of another pinch hitter. Or am I wrong?
It's McKenna Sturgis who does step back in. She started in center. She's popped out twice. Just going back to McKenzie from 0-2 to a walk on a full count.
Yeah.
Plus plate appearance for the young lady stationed at first behind Ashton Danley, who led things off with a hard hit single to second. And there she is, stationed in scoring position for Sturgis. 0 for 2 tonight. On the ground to second. Lascano lost the handle, and everybody's safe.
And that's exactly what base runners will do. Base runners put pressure on a defense, and you see Lascano right here. She just tries to rush the play. She's trying to throw this ball, and she's trying to get it and throw it to second before she has full control of the ball. And that just puts her in a tough position. She looks up, and the ball doesn't hit her quite in the mitt. So tough play for the Ragin' Cajuns there, but great job by the Seminoles to yet again load the bases in this game.
Third time in 5 innings that Florida State has loaded the bases. They did so in the first. They left them loaded in the first.
Yep.
Delbury able to come away with some big pitches and big outs late in that inning. But then in the second, they scored 5 runs. They've been sat down in order, conventionally and unconventionally, until here in this 5th, where they are threatening yet again. Angeli Bueno will step into the batter's box, nowhere to put her. And it would represent a huge second out for the Ragin' Cajuns if they can get it. Kyle Brady, who had stepped into the circle for a quick conversation, is back out, and we're ready to go once again. And a called strike to Angeli.
Great first pitch. Angeli, her first at bat, hit with a very high and tight hard ball to the shoulder. And the Cajuns not afraid to go right back inside on Bueno right there. Great pitch.
Holds off on the off-speed outside.
This is a prime RBI opportunity for Bueno, who's only got 1 so far this season.
That'll get away. And Florida State will tack on a 6th run of the ball game. Danley touches home, and the count goes to 2-1 for Angeli Bueno.
Great job laying off that low pitch. This one bounces and just gets away from the Cajun catcher. See it right here. She pulls the string on it, and it's just down and takes a wild hop on the catcher there. And great base running by the Noles. Everybody advances.
Elevated to center. Williams calls everybody off, and Florida State will tack on a 7th run, scored a sac fly for Angeli Bueno.
Great job by Bueno right there to drive this ball deep enough to score the run from third. That's just maturity from your lineup right there, man. That's pretty impressive. She didn't try to do too much, but enough to drive in that run, and both base runners able to advance. So great at bat by Angeli Bueno.
And here is Bella Ruggiero. Called strike to start her off. And for Hoover, who came in and really did a nice job of stabilizing things for Louisiana, now at 3 1/3 innings of work in relief of Lexi Delbrie. Couple of earned runs here in this inning alone as Ruggiero bounces it back up the middle, and that will do it. Florida State scores 3 in the 5th, and they will run rule the Ragin' Cajuns in 5.
It's a great at bat by the bottom half of the lineup of the Seminoles. Ruggiero with a big hit right there, big RBI, and the Seminoles come out victorious.
A comprehensive victory for Florida State. And Brandon, I'm just struck by some of the things that FSU did. They've got quality pitching tonight, whether it was Dimitrievich in the start, Ashton Danley, who came in for some quality relief. They didn't really put the bat on the ball in any extraordinary sense the same way they did in Clearwater, especially against UCLA, but they've proven that they can manufacture runs, they can run the bases well, they can play a little small ball, they can do a lot of different things offensively to put numbers on the run column regardless.
I'll tell you what, the approach at the plate today was the difference maker, man. These young ladies were taking great pitches. They took their walks. They got hit by pitches. They just found their way on base. You know, when you get a base runner, man, you saw what happened. The other team was making errors. They put a little pressure on that defense. And then, guess what? A couple big hits when it mattered, right? Sac fly here, a single here, RBI there. And you're right, manufactured 8 runs, no problem.
A very convincing and a very solid win for Florida State over a very good team out of the Sun Belt in Louisiana. So just like that, that will do it. Dimitrievich will record the win. Delbrie will take the loss, and an 8-0 win for the 7th-ranked team in the country. For my partner, Brandon Reichert, for our boss, producer, director, man who wears many hats, maybe as stylish as that one, Kirby Kander, the entire crew here on hand in Tallahassee on a Tuesday. So long from all of us. Florida State wins at 8-0. Tournament play continues for each of these teams this coming weekend. We'll be back in Tallahassee for the Noles and the Crimson Tide.